Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm kind of just gonna show you guys the best non-class slash non-paddle binds, although take my word with a grain of salt, or I don't know what you really call one of those, but basically non-class slash non-paddle binds, they're not really optimal, especially with the new mechanics of the game, with sprinting and all that. So this is not going to be the most optimal set of binds ever, but I think it's still doable enough and still can be done without having any trouble, or at least not in the sense that you're not gonna be able to play against good players, which I think anybody can get good at the game they're trying to play as long as they put enough time to it. So without further ado, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just get right into the video. So let's start off with the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 controllers. They work pretty much the same thing, right? They're pretty much the same thing, honestly. We're gonna start off with our switch mode on our circle button. Now the circle button is a really good button to press, or it's not really a really good button to press per se, but it's the default setting. So I mean, you probably won't get too uncomfortable with it purely because it's where the default switch mode is. It's a pretty far button to press, especially if you're coming off of the right joystick, but I think it should be doable. And then we're gonna have our toggle pickaxe on triangle, purely because once again it's default, everybody has that. So yeah, this is a pretty good button. It's right next to the switch mode, so just in case you want to spam your pickaxe whenever you're editing, then it's pretty good. And then for our editing button, we're going to put that on our left stick, because left stick edit is a universal editing button for most PlayStation, or not even PlayStation, even Xbox controllers. So left stick edit should work just fine. And then we're going to have our jump on right stick, because jump right stick is pretty standard. It's the most standard button for non-claw slash non-paddle players who jump. Even Day uses it, and he's on claw. So if that doesn't tell you that right stick jump is good, then please, you can leave the video. Anyway, we're gonna put our crouch and sliding on X, purely because the right joystick is already occupied, and we can't really put crouching and sliding and jumping on the same button, so we're just gonna put it on X. Make sure crouching and sliding is on X. Make sure that that doesn't change. And then we're gonna have reloading slash interacting on square, purely because once again it's pretty standard. My phone's going crazy, hold up. And then after that, we're gonna have our sprint, or basically our toggle sprint on touchpad. Now you can switch between having your edit on the touchpad and then having your sprinting and running on the left stick, but I personally think the left stick is a little bit better for editing. But I mean, that's up to you. If you're more comfortable pressing the touchpad on the top part of it, like you have to overlap your kind of knuckles on the R1 button and put it on top of the PlayStation 4 controller, you should be able to tap it. It should work just fine, sprinting with it. But I mean, it's probably more important to put your editing on it, just because it's a little bit more optimal. But I mean, that's up to you. If you're more comfortable with touchpad editing, then go ahead. If you're more comfortable with left stick editing, then go ahead. You can switch between the two. I personally prefer left stick edit though, so yeah, you don't have to take my word for it though. Next, for the building section, this is literally nothing important, because the building section is pretty useless. It's pretty much the same, default builder pro. If you don't want to have default builder pro, then you probably do have paddles, but make sure the building section is, just default, just in case you probably didn't know that already. For the editing section, we're gonna put our confirm on L2, our selecting on R2, and our resetting on R1. Or actually, you could put it on L1. It probably better on L1, purely because your finger is already overlapping on the R1, so might be better on the L1 for resetting, but that's up to you. Just make sure that your triggers are for your selecting and confirming, and then for your resetting you have your bumpers. Now I used to recommend putting your triggers, or trying to put your selecting button away from the triggers, but for now let's just do it, purely because you are playing on non-class slash non-paddles, so this is going to be terrible. Make sure you have confirm edit on release on, also because if you don't have confirm edit on release on, this is not going to be the most optimal thing for you. However, I mean, if you can do it, then go ahead, because I'm not going to stop you. Make sure you just make sure you're just good at it, because trust me, it was difficult for me to even have confirm edit on release disabled, even though I was playing on claw. So yeah, I mean, that's purely up to you, but yeah, I highly recommend confirm edit on release with the set of binds. And that's pretty much it for the PlayStation 4 controller. It's a lot more optimal than the Xbox controller for sure, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's up to the player who's playing and up to the player who's using the controller. Let's just move on to the Xbox controller. So as for the Xbox controller, this is still going to be a little bit different, or not going to be a little bit different. It's actually pretty much the same thing, except a few exceptions. I actually took this inspiration from FaZe Jarvis. He's a pretty good Xbox controller pro back then, before he got banned for aimbot. Don't worry, this won't give you aimbot. Starting off with the editing button, we're going to put that on left stick, which is once again universal for pretty much any controller button or any controller player out there. We're going to have our jump on right stick, once again pretty standard for non-claw/non-paddle. I mean, if you don't trust me on the right stick, then just watch a controller pro named Day. He uses right stick jumps, so yep. Then we're gonna move on to our switch mode, which is gonna be on Y, which is where Jarvis places it. It's a pretty weird spot. I mean, it's pretty, actually it's pretty much, it's probably better than the B, purely because it's probably a little bit closer. I don't know, it's pretty much the same distance in all honesty, but yeah, Y for switch mode works just as well as B switch mode. And then we're going to have our pickaxe on B, and then we're going to have our crouching and sliding once again on the A button, reloading / interacting on the X button, and then this is where it gets a little bit confusing, so bear with me here. So the toggle sprint, make sure you have toggle sprint enabled, by the way, because it's just not going to work if you do not have toggle sprint. Whenever you're trying to press your toggle sprint button, there's no more vacant buttons out there or in this first phase of the controller, basically the surface of the controller. So what you want to do is press the little button on the top side of your D-pad. Like it's on the top side of your D-pad, basically the top part of the D-pad. You want to click it, but you want to click it as fast as you can, and then you typically just want to have your, like, the knuckle on your thumb to hold down the toggle sprint, or no, not hold down the toggle sprint, but hold down the left joystick so that you're constantly moving while pressing your toggle sprint. Now make sure you have toggle sprint enabled, by the way, purely because if you don't have toggle sprint enabled, this is going to be terrible for you. You're not going to be able to hit this button and you're going to look like an idiot. So make sure you have toggle sprint enabled, because you could just let go of your left stick for a little bit and then your character will constantly sprint. You don't have to worry about that. And then after that, we're gonna have our smap or everything else on the same as it was, except, you know, you're gonna remove squad comps probably for the inventory or something like that. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is the kind of binds that I gave you. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the combat settings. Let's go to the building settings, which is gonna be standard builder pro, purely because, once again, if you do have anything other than default builder pro, then you probably have paddles and you probably are, I don't even know why you're watching this video at that point. So yeah, make sure everything is default builder pro. I'm just gonna say it right now: RT wall, LT stair, L1 or LB cone, and then RB for your stair or for your floor. I keep messing up my words, man. Come on. And then let's move on to the editing section, which is gonna be also pretty similar. It's gonna be RB for your selecting, which is, once again, I highly recommend this purely because RB is such a better button than RT for selecting. It bottoms out faster than any of the triggers, so this just helps like 10 times a lot. It just helps a lot, trust me. And then for selecting, or I meant for confirming, we're gonna put that on LB. Once again, same reason why we're putting it on why we're putting selecting on RB. Same reason why we're putting confirm on LB. And then for resetting, we're gonna put that on one of the triggers, preferably the right trigger or RT. So yeah, this is pretty much it for the Xbox controller. It's pretty standard. It pretty much works just as fine. I recommend confirm it on release once again, because non-claw/non-paddle is very unoptimal compared to claw. So it's going to be very difficult for you to have a non-claw/non-paddle and confirm it on release off. So make sure you have confirm it on release on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Turn on post notifications so you're notified of videos just like this one. I'm pretty tired and I'm going to be posting 2 videos a day. So yeah, I'm just tired. Honestly, today I'm just tired. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.